following is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com. Whether you're buying or selling your home, the brokers of Me Realty will work with you to get the deal done. As one of Central Illinois' top producing offices for decades, Me Realty has the experience to guide you through the process. You want results? Call the brokers of Me Realty at 217-735-5424, stop by the office at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, or check out local listings online at merealty.com. WLCN and WLCNonline.com present Inside Run with Joe Ryan, as Joe talks with head football coaches from around the Central State 8 Conference. And now, it's time for this edition of Inside Run. Here's Joe Ryan.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Inside Run. I'm Joe Ryan, your host, and today we're standing over in Jacksonville, Illinois with the Crimson coach, Mark Grounds. Mark, how you doing?
Good to see you again. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. But I remember many moons over here chasing the Jacksonville around, and it was a good time. Always loved playing you. You're an excellent coach. I'm not saying that to you because you're here. I'm saying it because I mean it. I've watched you over the years.
Well, I appreciate it. This will be, I think, year 23 for me. And our goal from day one was to put a program that was competitive, that the town could get behind and be proud of. And, I think more times than not we've done that. Sometimes, you have the ebb and flow of public school education, getting kids out in the hallways. COVID obviously made things harder for everybody. Sure. But, we had a good year last year, and we've got some good kids coming back. So, everybody's undefeated right now, so optimism's high.
Yeah, you're right. Everybody's undefeated. And you took over for Mark Stewart, correct?
Yeah,
he was here forever.
Yeah, Mark Stewart was one of my college coaches as a senior.
Oh, really?
And 2 years later, he became head coach here, and I started back in 1993 and 94. I was here as an assistant before going to North Park College up in Chicago, and then I came back to work for Stu again in 2000 and took over for him in 2001.
Well, yeah, I remember he was a good coach too.
Yeah.
Let's back up a little bit further from that because you're one of the IC Mafia.
Yeah.
Talk about.
Yeah.
Where were your high school days?
Eureka, Missouri, where Six Flags is. So I was a Missouri guy. I was a professional carny worker over the summer there in the game section there, and family had Illinois college connections, and looked around at a lot of smaller colleges. I'm not real tall, so I was a Division III kid. And from the moment I walked on campus, there was just something about Illinois College that struck home. And, we do call ourselves the Mafia because there's a lot of us out there in coaching and a lot of similar experiences. It really makes it a tight-knit community. You do,
and all you guys that come out of there as coaches, you're all good coaches.
Well, I think Division III prepares you a lot for that because you know what, unlike maybe Division I, Division III, you have to develop players and you have to be adaptive with your scheme. So I think there's a lot of innovative coaching that goes on at Division III, and if that's your formative training years, I think you absorb a lot of that.
Well, over the years, and we talked a little before we came on here about, I thought the greatest game ever I was at in Jacksonville history was I came over here and watched you upset Griffin. I don't remember the year, but it was unbelievable back and forth game, and you got the W.
Yeah, it was 2004. We made it to the semifinals that year after, and we got beat by Joliet Catholic, who won it all.
Tough team to beat.
Tough team. Reason I know that, next year's not only the 125th year of Jacksonville high school football, it's the 20th reunion for those kids. So I have some kids already that reached out this week and say, hey, are we going to plan anything? It'd be great to get the guys back together. And I said, I'm 100% behind it. I'm a little bit worried about these guys right now, but this winter we'll get something good. So, yeah, it was a great game. The year before, we lost 21-14 to them here. And we had a couple fumbles down at the goal line. It was a great game after a not-so-great game in the regular season. Very similar in 04. We got beat. That was in what they called the polecat game, where Eric Peterman.
Oh, that's right.
Eric Peterman.
I forgot about that.
Just a phenomenal kid, person, and player. And then we were fortunate enough to we made a couple more plays than they did in the second half, and we got out of there with a 21-14 victory at home.
It was an incredible game. And I forgot about Peter. I didn't forget about him, but I forgot that was a Peterman game. We used to teach to tackle numbers. Find numbers and tackle numbers. and that kid had the uncanny ability to run full speed with his hips sideways, and you couldn't tackle him.
And Coach Ken Leonard, as is his son Derek, were so much ahead of the game. He was the first dynamic difference maker as a runner that we ever in our league or probably the state really faced in the shotgun. I mean, he was a running back that could throw and one of the fastest kids you'll ever see.
So as you've moved into this head coaching position, what's your role on game day?
Well, I still call the offense. During the summer, it's about getting people in roles. I've been fortunate in my time here to really have consistency in my staff. We don't usually have a ton of staff turnover. Now, so I've been here for 23 years, so my original staff did turn over after about a decade. But we've got people that I trust. That we put them in positions. I'm on the headset with both offense and defense, and I'll make some defensive suggestions sometimes to the chagrin of my defensive staff. But I call the offense.
You're the boss.
I call the offense on game night. Have people that have been with me for a long time that we're in sync with each other. They know what my idiosyncrasies are on game night. How I like to call plays. Sometimes they tell me don't throw the ball, run the ball. Sometimes they tell me don't run the ball, throw the ball. It's
the fun of it.
It's a great give and take. My assistant head coach is Brent Heaton, who was a senior in 01, my first year as the head coach. Our quarterback coach was a teammate of mine at Illinois College, Mike Sullivan, who's been one of my best friends for 35 years. I call him my conscience because he slows me down and gets me to think about things because I can process and move very quickly, and he's a very black and white, let's slow down type of guy. That they're great compliments to my personality. One of the things that my college coach at Illinois College, Bill Anderson, said is the best way to have a staff that is successful is find people that fill in your cracks of where you're deficient. And
very true.
People will tell me that I've got a lot of deficiencies, so I've got some great coaches that help fill in the cracks. But they really are a family. Sometimes we bicker like family members, but we also push each other to reach our best versions of ourselves together. And I think the people that have benefited from that is our kids.
Yeah, I think you're correct. It's always been a class program. I mean, from ever since I can remember it. And Bill Anderson, you threw that name out there. He's a name I forgot to hear. What a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a giant, literally, among the people that know him and care about him. And I was fortunate that after he retired from Springfield High and his son graduated, he came and he coached my freshmen for about 4 years. So my college coach was my younger level coach for about 4 or 5 years, and I can give you a lot of stories about time management and clock management and notes that he would try to give me as I'm coming off the field, and I'd try to escape without getting them. And but what a great mentor! I wouldn't be the person I am or the modest successes that I've had in my career have a lot to do with my formative years with him at Illinois College.
Yeah, he was a good dude. I remember him being on the sidelines, and you can't beat having that knowledgeable of a guy working with your freshmen.
No, not at all.
Exactly right. I remember John Oakes did it over in Lincoln his last year. He came back working at the lower levels to get them up to par.
What a great experience for them to have a varsity and college coach that was just spot on with organization and stuff. I mean, it was a wonderful experience for me.
Well, unfortunately, we got out of the Central State 8 for a few years, and I'm so happy to be back in it. I'm a big fan of the Central State 8. I think it's the best conference in the state, one of the best, and good football. And so, just catch us up a little bit. How have you been over the past 5 or 6 years, and how were your lower levels?
Well, we
last year.
Well, we are in the process of having 3 winning seasons in a row, 2 playoffs. Appearances. The COVID season we were 4-2 would have been a playoff team for us. Previous 3 or 4 years before that, we failed to make the playoffs. One year, I can't remember exactly the year, we went 0-9 for the first time in my career. We lost.
So you don't do that very often.
We lost all 5 quarterbacks in the program week 2.
Oh.
So we were a spread team. We'd gotten the throwing the ball around a little bit. having 5 quarterbacks in the program anyway was a luxury.
Say, how'd you get 5?
But we lost them all. So
Wow.
so we stayed relatively competitive, but we came up short all 9 games. Then we had 2 years that we were 4-5. That literally the last game of the season we had to win to get in, and we didn't make it. But we're 3 years in a row back to being in a playoff
Good.
caliber team. You know, we've struggled with numbers as our community, very similar to Lincoln. You know, we've lost state facilities, we've lost industry. When I took over, we were 1,300 people in the school. We're down to our official IHSA enrollment's 870. So we've lost about 35% of our population. But we've been able to stay competitive. I think our youth program and middle school program is set up for some sustained success. But we're like everybody, where numbers are a struggle. You know, we're about 65 kids. For my first 10 to 12 years, we were 85 to 95, a couple times over 100. But I think the difference is our quality is still very, very good. But in general, you don't have a lot of places where kids go out just to be part of the team anymore like they used to 20 years ago.
You're correct.
Okay, they would rather work, or they'd rather do something else. So the ones that are out are serious players, but you have to learn how to adjust your practices. You've had to switch gears on some things, and it's been a challenge. But you know, even though I'm a veteran coach, I pride myself that I try to stay up to date with training, with practices, and community networking within the coaching community to learn how to constantly try to be better. And that's, you know, if that ever stops for me, that's the time that I'll probably get out.
And you know, it's hard when you get those lower numbers. You start having more kids go both ways, and then you're wore down the second half. You need all those kids out.
Absolutely. You know, we in 2006 was the last time that we were an under center team. We were an under center option team when I started. We went to shotgun, and at the time, you know, it was Griffin, Jacksonville, and a little bit of Auburn, and most of the state that we were shotgun throwing around. And we had some great success, but we're our second year back to being a complete under center team, trying to zig a little bit when everybody's zagging. I think right now, when you become a head coach in the Central State 8 or Central Illinois, somebody gives you what I joke with them about this, but I'm being very serious. The Derek Leonard Central State 8 playbook. Hey, you've got to run these spread plays. And
very true.
With our situation, if we're playing bigger schools with more athletes than us, and they face 7 teams up before us running the same stuff, they get to perfect that game plan. So week 8 and 9 get to be a little bit difficult for us. So we want to do some things that make people have to defend us a little bit different. So we're back to my roots, which is under center option. We still throw the ball quite a bit out of it, but that's kind of where we've been and where we are now. And you know, this year's a new year, new people. You've got to be able to design stuff that attack their strengths, and you know, I think we've been successful at doing that. And hopefully, we can say that after this year.
How many starters do you have back from last year?
Well, we've got 9 starters back on offense.
Wow, that's good.
And 8 back on defense. Now, one of the starters moves from running back to quarterback, so we've got to replace our quarterback and a tight end and a wing. But the wing split time with some people. So you know, our entire line's back. Most of our running backs are back. A lot of our secondary's back. And defensive line. So we had a lot of pieces that we had as known commodities going into the year, and we're seeing the competition of some of those younger guys that are getting ready to be varsity players. Had some kids that were older, or kids that, you know, weren't starters or didn't play as much as they want, that had great off seasons, that have elevated themselves. So this is the fun time of the year. You know, we have our soda scrimmage tonight, and like you said, Jacksonville's going to win tonight. Yeah. So,
as everybody knows, we're going to win anyway. Let's learn something.
The keys to not get hurt, but it's important for the parents, especially the younger kids, to get out and see their kids out there wear the uniforms and things like that. The community, give them a little sneak preview. You know, we won't show much. We won't put a lot out there, but it's the week before. So you know, we get done with soda scrimmage, all of a sudden game week anxiety kicks in.
And that's why I want to get over here before you started game week.
Well, I appreciate that.
Because I know what goes on then.
Yeah,
and it's not messing with some guy like me.
No.
So what do you think this year? What do you think will be your strengths? What do you want to hang your hat on?
Well, we've got 5 starting offensive linemen back. 4 of them were sophomores last year.
Wow,
that
good.
got us to the playoffs. The 5th one was a junior first-time starter on offensive line. They're all back. So, I've always tried to design our offenses first on what's in the block. Then what's your arm strength of your quarterback. We've got an all-conference running back, all-conference wide receiver back. So that's kind of where you start on the offensive line. In our league, you've got to have a solid secondary with the way people spread you out and throw the ball. So, our goal is that we have a solid secondary and we put pressure on the opposing corner. That's what we want to be. Now, there's good coaches in this league, as you know, and they can make you think twice about some things really quick.
Hey, with all the technology nowadays, it's not like you keep anything a secret after we point out. It's just
in our league, like unlike a lot of them, we trade every single game. So by the end of the year, if you do your work, there are no secrets. So it really forces it down to where it's kids against kids.
The way it should be, right?
Yes.
Now, so these questions that guys like me ask. You got a conference favorite? Who do you think's sitting up there?
Well, I've always said until you dethrone Sacred Heart Griffin, even though Ken's not there, they're a returning state champion. Okay. After that, you got to look at Derek with what he's accomplished at Rochester, and then it's Chatham has historically been in the top 3. Springfield High is there. I think Decatur MacArthur has had some great teams, and we've always been in the mix to be in that next echelon of teams. And I think that injury bugs stay away. I think we're right there where we want to be, with a chance to have some upsets against some of the better teams.
What does come down to those upsets or those injuries, doesn't it?
It does. Boy,
you got to play a game without one of your key people. That hurts.
That's why you get paid the big bucks, right? As a head coach, you got to make sure that those number 2s are getting enough reps that when they go in, number one, the people around them can make them feel confident in themselves to perform. But you also have to know what their strengths are and stay in those wheelhouses. So, injuries are never a fun part. We had a young man get injured in practice in a non-contact injury, and it just makes you sick to your stomach because of how much work they put in and how much being part of the team becomes their identity. Our kids lift, they do the things. We've adjusted our contact in practice like everybody has, so we don't have as many injuries as what maybe you used to 20 years ago when you'd be. Helmets
are better, pads are better. It's all getting better.
Yeah, science is getting better, and kids' ability to take care of themselves are getting better too. So.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you for joining us for a little bit. Always been a Jayville fan. You're an excellent coach, like these other Odyssey guys. And I wish you the best. On the Lincoln night, I'm not sure I can root for you, but all the rest of those times, I can give you a cheer.
Hey, that's okay. You know what? We're happy to have them back in. I know they're really high on their team this year. They had a lot of success the last couple of years building with this team. So it's going to be a challenge for us to get to know them again, because Coach hadn't been in this league since he's been the head coach there. So we don't get to see him. Haven't seen him on film. So it's this is great for all of us, and we appreciate the opportunity.
Well, we're talking with Mark Grounds, the head coach over Jacksonville for how many years? 20.
This is my 23rd year as the head coach.
Wow, you don't look that old. Still look in your 40s.
Well, don't necessarily feel in your 40s.
Well, Coach, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time on Inside Ring.
The preceding program is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com.